What's up, everybody? Sudeep Tumma back here with another NBA draft player breakdown. We'll be looking at TyTy Washington this time, the talented point guard prospect who came into Kentucky, one of the top prospects in the nation. Came in as a point guard. He's been playing a lot more two guard, a lot more shooting guard next to Savar Wheeler, the all SEC transfer from Georgia, who's a tremendous passer. And the two have really flourished well together, kind of play off each other a little bit. Wheeler more with the ball in his hands when the two are on the court together, but Washington's become the de facto point guard for this Kentucky team. He is, when Wheeler goes off the floor, Washington's the guy. And when Wheeler doesn't play games, Washington is also the guy. And some of that has issues to do with Kentucky's depth at point guard, but that's a separate issue. But it's been good for Washington. You see him at both spots at 6'3", 197 pounds. A lot of people project him as a point guard, but I think we've seen it with guys like CJ McCollum and others who can play shooting guard at that position, and he shows on both sides of the ball. I think the length helps him on defense to cover two guards, but overall, I think he's fit to play either one you want. I think he could thrive as either role, as a good combo guard in that sort of role. But yeah, overall, Washington's been having a good season for Kentucky. Obviously, Kentucky's one of the best teams in the nation right now. And this guy's a big part and a big reason why on both sides of the ball. Averaging over 12 points a game, shooting about 46%. He's doing a tremendous job. And he's got a lot of qualities to him, a lot of polished qualities. Probably one of the higher floors for NBA prospects, definitely for a guard in this class. But let's take a look into his game. And what he does so well, two things that really stand out to you on offense. One, his pull-up game in the mid-range, and two, his floaters. He is excellent. And he could also, attack the rim and finish through contact, but his floater game is excellent. And he does a good job with both these. And what you love with the pull-up, this is a guy who is not an explosive elite athlete by most measures, but I still think he's good, a very good athlete who has underrated burst and can get to his spots. But he really does it with his change of pace ability, his IQ, some of the things we'll be seeing. So right here to begin the play, you got Washington down near the low block. He's going to come on a dribble handoff. One of the plays he gets on a lot, and he moves really well without the ball a lot, and they set up a lot of sort of plays off of that. But yeah, you see Washington comes in, and just watch him, right? Get into a spot. He's got space all around him, and then just pull up, elevate, and hit the jumper. And that's a lot of what he gives you. Can come off of those screens, grab the ball off the handoffs. He'll just be standing there, can dribble drive off of attacking closeouts and find spots. He'll do in the pick and roll game, which we'll see right here. So again, Washington's got the ball at the top of the key, almost top of the wing. He'll have the pick coming in, but he'll do a good job just rejecting it, and he does a good job with that, deciding where to go and being patient, poised with his game. See him crossover, and as you see him attack, watch that, right? The ability to create space. This you love. You see something with a step back, he can hit jumpers, off balance, fadeaways, but watch him, right? When he's set behind the back, look how far the defender slides. And because of that, all of a sudden now you've created the space you need. And he's very good in those sort of aspects. Very good jumper. And we'll see it here. We saw in the mid-range, but you also see it from the three-point line. He's shooting about 33.7%, I believe the number is, from beyond the arc, but he's shot much better. He shot 40% earlier in the year. He's shot a much better percentage in high school, and we know he's a better shooter. He's got good range, but I like the ability for him to just score off the dribble and create space. And you'll see it here, right? Again, off another handoff, gets the ball, and watch this, right? Just across. I mean, watch how far Vescovi gets the Tennessee defender, right? As Washington starts dribbling to his left, you see it, and watch the defender, right? Watch him absolutely just slide off that crossover, and now you've made sufficient space, and that's again the polished thing. He has very good handles, not crazy blow you by, break you down sort of thing, but he does a good job combining it, and he's got very strong handles, good control on the ball. Averages only 1.6 turnovers. It's a testament to his decision making and also his ball handling ability. And I talked about the pull-up game and being able to hit mid-range three-pointers. He's also very good at spot-up three-point shooter, which you always love, and that's part of why he can thrive overall as the two guard, coming as the off-ball guard, right, where he can be just standing out there. He'll subtly move well to get to open spots, and he'll work off of that. If the defender closes out, then you got the dribble drives, all that sort of thing. So you got to see Washington over there in the corner and just watch him as this ball gets toward him. Wheeler hands it off, and just watch the range, and then also just watch his overall just mechanics, right? Smooth little shot, gets it up pretty quickly, and not the highest release point, but gets the ball up in the air and is able to hit it. Doesn't shoot a ton of threes, still 3 point something attempts a game, which is a pretty solid mark, but overall he does a good job and he shows you that again and again. And over here, this is again the traits you love, right? You're going to see Washington come over there from off this. He doesn't really set a screen, but you see Washington down on the low block almost. He's going to come out, right? Catch it. Defender closes out hard. He's looking for a passing angle. Isn't one. So he just goes and again, right? See the space that's created by this. This is not, there's no crossover here. There's no behind the back. There's no anything. It's just his ability, stop ability also is really good. He can stop on a dime and create that space. You see it in the mid-range. You see it here, right? Right? Just him stopping. Watch the defender slide and over here from there. It's that little stop and pop floater. And over here, one more time. Right? This time will be, again, he's coming off ball. This is attacking a closeout. And here he's just got lane, right? And this is what I'm talking about with the burst, right? Not crazy, blow you by for the most part, but he's got some of it, right? From there, just understanding, right? And the floater. And this is what I'm really trying to highlight, right? You got that athleticism, it's pretty solid, but this is what he really does well. His patience, his poise, and his IQ really stand out, and his just pace to his game is phenomenal. So he's going to get the ball up here at top of the key, and watching that pick and roll, right? Coming over left, and then watch in real time to kind of see that little subtle stop here. So, right, goes, subtly stops, and goes. And the reason it's so intelligent, you'll see it as we get back. So this help defender right here. So right here, right? This help defender who's going to be essentially stepping onto TyTy, Washington hedging until Aaron Cook can get back. I believe that's Cook. So as you see it, right, the defender on Washington is fighting around. And while that's happening, while he's fighting around, this help defender, once again, he's put in a bind. He's trying to stand there and hold his ground. But the longer Washington waits, shields off the Georgia defender with his body, the longer you're second-guessing, or that defender is second-guessing himself because you're putting him in that bind, right? As he's standing there right now, he's thinking, should I come back onto Shibwe or should I stand there? And the longer you put him out there on that island, the longer he's guessing. So you put a couple of those subtle dribbles, and now he wants to just see, watch that left foot of this defender, or of the drop defender. Watch his foot. As he steps, he just subtly creates just enough space, starts committing back to Shibwe, and now you see, the C part, and just a good open lane to the basket. And here, you're going to see it one more time. All right, same little set, pick and roll. And again, watch in real time first. Pick comes slow, and then go. And you're seeing the same stuff one more time, right? That defender who's on Washington, this time it's like Washington is almost letting this defender beat around to Shibwe, right? So pick comes. And you watch the defender who gets screened. Watch Washington, right? He's slowing down, and he's basically letting this defender get back. Why? Because of this guy right here, right? This help defender, who's, again, he's coming out completely onto Washington, right? And Washington doesn't want to pull up here. He wants to get an even better shot. So him pausing for a second, once again, puts this dude over here in a bind. Is he going to go back to Shibwe, who's also a very talented player? Or is he going to, stick onto Washington? And because you take those couple dribbles and stop, he feels like what happens here is this help defender right here, he realizes, or he thinks, okay, my defender, or rather his teammate, is going to fight back around, so I can step back onto my guy. But because Washington is, take a couple dribbles, has the advantage, has just a half step on his original defender, he's got that space, right? So when that defender comes, at this angle, you're not in good, for this dude right here, he's not in good position to take Washington back. But because this help defender has to go back to Shibwe, Washington creates that little space. And these are little instinctual small things, right? And look at that. Because of that, this is what you get. And that's what he does so well. He really navigates. He's very patient. And that's the same thing you see when he's their point guard. Like I said, when Wheeler's out, this is the guy. And I think his best moment in any aspect, not just passing, but in this aspect, passing, he had 17 assists against Georgia, which I believe is an SEC record, if not a Kentucky record, something like that. But Well, he just displayed that ability, the adaptability, because when you're a point guard, you're not just going downhill trying to score every play, and if you see someone open, you pass it. You play a different role. You've got to run the offense. You got to be patient. You got to hit guys in position, not just score for yourself, and not just drive. And if you see someone drive and kick, right, you play a very different role, and he does that very well. He shows that he can run the pace, and that's what I love here. Right, gets the ball right top of the key, and it's just very subtle, right? We saw all those sets before where the drop defender, in this case right here, is going to come onto Washington, and just watch here. As Washington gets some space, and this defender more heavily commits onto Washington. There's more space for mid-range. Even though he doesn't shoot the mid-range, Washington that is, he's in the position to shoot it, so this defender is kind of in a bind again, and because of that, you open up the little pocket pass, and Washington just does a very good job, right? Very fundamental bounce pass and simple. And that's a lot of what you see, right? It's not advanced, crazy, blow you away passing vision or something, but he's good, very good passing vision. He's very fundamental. He can throw, the lobs, the kickouts, the dump offs. He can draw double teams. His good with the jump passes. He does the little things, makes entry passes as well, and he does them all just to perfection. Like I said, 1.6 turnovers. He doesn't make mistakes. Right here. This is a set play for Kentucky. Washington's got to hit that entry pass inside, and he cuts it in, almost throws the knee a little bit. You watch him, right? Hits it there, and basket from there. Like I said, it's a simple thing sometimes, and simple like we'll see here too, right? So Kellen Grady's got the ball right here near the wing, and this is what Kentucky's a little pissed about right now. Davion Mintz in the corner is wide open, but Grady misses it, and Washington gets the ball up here, and he's got Grady again coming to set a pick. But instead of just going downhill and attacking, he recognizes he surveys, he's patient for a second, and then he makes a decision. And it's simple, right? It's very subtle, simple, right? Just surveys, finds his man, and because of that, 3-pointer. And these are things you want as a floor general. Sometimes it's not just okay, I can make a basket here. It's getting your guy in a position. And say a defender had closed down, maybe Mintz drives in, makes a pass to someone else. There's no assist for Washington, but that's the play you make as a floor general. And we'll see here, right, with some of the more passing vision. We'll see it play in full speed. Right, finds his dude. So this is what Georgia does here is they trap Washington, right, when he's got the ball. And because of that, this other defender for Georgia, the third one, has to come help onto Tshiebwe. Or, he probably shouldn't because he's got a guy near the dunker spot, but he does. And Washington does really manipulates that. So again, you got the trap with the two guys, and they come onto Washington off that pick. And from here, instead of Washington just hitting to Tshiebwe in a place where he can just take a jumper, it probably isn't as comfortable driving it down and then hitting a dump off to Keon Brooks, number 12. He's patient, right? He stays with it, Washington. So he's got the ball, takes a couple dribbles, and again, what I said before, the longer you dribble and the longer you're patient in there, the more you make the defense think. So this dude over here, who's in position he should be for the most part, all of a sudden, as the play goes on, he's thinking, wow, Tshiebwe is wide open right now. I should probably go to him. So Washington takes a couple dribbles and just watch this help defender just start thinking, okay, dragon. And now that's when he really commits, right? You see him start running toward Tshiebwe. And at that point, when Washington's almost picked up his dribble, the original help defender right here starts to go back to Tshiebwe. And so what do? And now you got two guys committed to Tshiebwe, so you open up a wide open passing angle. And because you watch Washington doing a good job with his eyes and his arms and the ball fake to bring the ball around like it's going back to Tshiebwe, your dude sticks right here, right? Watch him. Now where is he? He's over there. And so you open up that wide open there because now the rotations are all out of whack and you hit that wide open pass. Does a very good job there, I think. And moves very well without the ball. Like I said, could slide along the perimeter, gets to the open spots. But he just does a good job to feel when defenders fall asleep and can cut downward too. All right, you see here, his man's got the ball over there. And it's this defender over here who's going to fall asleep. And you see Washington just feel that and just go. And again, you see the floater and does a very good job there. And like I said, good speed, I think, underrated, good straight line speed. And you'll see it here when the ball goes up. You got Washington down here. Just watch him, right? It's simple. Just burst, catches it, and then he goes. And then watch the little patience at the end, right? The little slow down. That's again with the pace we're talking about, can finish through contact, a lot of those things. And we talk a lot about those traits. His rebounding, which we didn't really mention, his averages about 3-something rebounds a game. He really doesn't put in a lot of effort there. Ball watches more than anything. Maybe some of that's a product of, Oscar Tshiebwe was right there, right? One of the best rebounders in college basketball in this decade. But Washington kind of just stands there. Ball watches, doesn't ever crash, rarely ever crashes. The rebounds he does get, he's just kind of around the ball and it bounces toward him. Somewhere you'd like to see him get better, especially with his length. He can corral some rebounds, but doesn't really do it there. But his defense, his length, he's got a 6'9" wingspan. Really shows out, and more than just the physical tools, he really hounds, harasses guys when he's locked in, and he does a good job in that aspect. And his defense coming in probably was more of a weak point, but he's really locked down and using his length and to create steals and just overall instincts and those sorts of things. You see him here defending his guy and just sticking with it, right? Nothing fancy, just crazy. And you force up a tough shot, and your guys get the rebound. And here's what I'm talking about with the hounding and harassing. You got Washington here, you got the ball handler over there, and just watch, right? Sticking on him, sticks, right? Arms up, just, you can't do anything. And because of that, you pass it to the corner over here. This guy can't step back, so he makes a tough pass, and you get a turnover because of that. And when he's in those sort of positions, one-on-one, that's when he does a very good job. It's some other things where he gets issues with, but first we'll check it out, right? 1.3 steals a game. Moves well as a help side defender, as a weak side. He can slide in very well, but he does have an issue to over pursue sometimes, which we'll touch on. But when he does it right, he does it right, and you'll see some of the instincts here that I was talking about, and just overall. And you see him here, right? Washington's got the ball. Again, we'll see an offense first, right? The lob entry, and scores because of that. And then again, watch Washington over here. Watch him just sneak, watch that, and then grab the ball and get a foul, excuse me. And like I said, you see it a lot just as a secondary help guy coming in. He's really racking up steals and doing a good job overall in that aspect. And here, one more time. You're going to see Washington up at the top of the play over here. So as Wendell Moore starts driving it toward the baseline, and then you got Theo John over here near that free throw line area. Theo John's going to be, his defender is going to start floating toward that baseline because Moore is driving that way, and that's going to be Lance Ware over here, who's that help defender. So basically, you got Washington, who's got to slide on to John to keep him at bay, right? That's the rotation. Does a good job, right? Over here, the two of them are. Washington's in, but as John gets there, you just watch Washington stick his arm in. Obviously, you're smaller. You're not going to get body position, but the wraparound with the length without fouling, that's a good thing. Just snacking out, having the hands and the feel to get that. That's what you like seeing. And here now we see some of the struggles. Here's the issue with him. Like I said, he can move as a help side defender, but he does fall asleep too much. And ball watches when he kind of gets out of rhythm a little bit. And a lot of it's over pursuing. We saw with him and how he can hound the ball. And some of that becomes over pursuing. Some of that becomes over, joyous, I guess. And that's why some of these mistakes happen. And you're going to see here, right? Washington over there on the baseline. Watches the play starts. And Washington's over there still. And as the ball starts going to that top of the key, Washington senses a little bit. He tries to get his hand in there, and obviously doesn't. There's a lot of space. And then from there, now you see Washington. He's just, first off, look at all this space, right? This is where, as a help defender, as a defender, you have to stay disciplined because it's very easy to think, oh, wait, this guy's open. Who's going to get him? And then your mind just loses you. You forget about your man. That's all you're thinking about. You're thinking about this dude at the top. It's exactly what happens here. So because of that, Washington is now, he's just looking at him. And say he shoots it right here, Washington probably peels back to his man. But because he doesn't, and now the Tennessee dude is starting to drive down, Washington isn't even, going to pursue him. He's just, he's lost. He's staring at him because that's what happens in basketball a lot. And so because of that, you got Vescovi in the corner who's going to just fly in. And you watch Washington over here and just watch how just slides right by him, right? Falling asleep. And this doesn't happen so crazy far too often, but these are some of the things that you like to see and the intensity kind of ramp up. And another place he really struggles is his pick and roll defense. Like I said, one-on-one defense can do a very good job, but plays like this when he's asked to play Or rather, when someone comes to pick, he loses it a lot. He just kind of stops a lot of times, or just can't slide with, and a lot of times off ball as well. You see some of that. So you got Washington up here, right, playing defense, and watch as that pick comes, and Washington's still sticking. He just gets beat cleanly, and it's a wide open look at the rim. And here one more time. So you got Washington over here, and watch as the ball gets to the top of the key. And watch Washington, right? He just continued to creep up. He's completely on him, and this is what I'm talking about, the over pursuing. You don't do this unless you have the foot speed to stick with. And right after that handoff, or rather, right after that pass to his big man, this Kennedy Chandler will just run off, and you see Washington, right? He gets stuck for a second. For whatever reason it is, he just does not operate well with these picks. Maybe it's, trying to knock the ball out of there, or losing his head, or whatever. But because of that little slowdown, Chandler gets that little wrap. And Tshiebwe steps down a little bit to try to let Washington get back and hold that distance. But it's Washington who needs to fight back. If not, he's got to communicate a switch or something, but doesn't. And because of that, it's wide open basket. Easy. And that's some of the downside you see with him, like I said, with the over pursuing and such. But overall, you get a very good player, right? That's just one small thing we got nitpicked at. Very good, finishes through contact well. He's got the Euro step, and he's got some of these moves. Got very good handles. Shields the ball well. He does things that make up for that little athleticism lapse, and I don't think it's as big as some people are making it out to be, but he does a very good job just with his pace and feels it out. And we see tremendous players, a number of players, be very, very good all-stars who are of that mold. And overall, he gives you a lot, right? As a 3-level scorer, he's really shown out on defense, doing a lot of things well as a playmaker, some versatility from either guard spot, and he's a guy who's going to be a very good player, I believe. But that's been the scouting report on TyTy Washington. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to go to dbl-coverage.com to see the full scouting report on Washington, on a bunch of other guys. And once again, thank you guys for listening, and I hope you all have a great day.